Einen schönen Nachmittag auf der BeSt 2013, Internationaler Frauentag, International Women's Day. Freut mich sehr, allen Damen alles Gute zu wünschen und auch allen emanzipierten Männern. Ich habe jetzt hier das Vergnügen, Ihnen Andy Sherwin vorzustellen, Education Expert am British Council, und er wird Ihnen im Detail erzählen, wie man in England studieren kann. Bitte schön.
Thank you, Johanna. And to all the men, unfortunately we don't get an International Day. But yeah, women, congratulations. So, mein Name ist Andy Sherwin. Ich bin Education Expert beim British Council und ich wollte euch kurz erklären, wie man am besten in England studiert oder besser in Großbritannien. Ich mache diese Präsentation teilweise auf Englisch und auf Deutsch, wenn es Ihnen recht ist. Super, yay, cool. So, warum sollte man eigentlich in Großbritannien studieren? Naja, weil wir einfach super Universitäten haben. Und eigentlich haben wir 300 Universitäten, die bieten ungefähr 50.000 Kursoptionen an. Von reiner Deutschstudium bis zu, das Beste, was ich gesehen habe, war Agrikultur mit Ballett. Also wenn es einen tänzenden Bauer da gibt, dann wir haben einen Platz für dich. Die Kurse sind maßgeschneidert genau für dich. Nicht für euch, sondern für dich. Du darfst wählen zum Beispiel. Was willst du studieren? Ja, warum nicht? Architektur, gut. Du kannst deine eigenen Module aussuchen. Also es ist genau maßgeschneidert für dich. Okay? Gehst nach England jetzt? Ja, super, cool. Another advantage of studying in the UK is that the courses are continually being assessed. Not just from outsiders, but from you, the student. So if, for example, you think, oh, my architecture study, it's so boring, my professor makes me fall asleep every day, the professor will get fired. No, he won't. But you can dictate what happens in your studies. And I think that's quite cool, because it's one of the few places in the world where you can do that. Another reason, of course, is academic excellence. The UK has 12 of the world's top 100 universities there, and they range from Oxford and Cambridge to Imperial College London, which is specifically for engineering and architecture. Yay! And we also have Manchester, which is at place 33 in the world. We have King's College London. We have UCL. Yay! We have UCL. They're all in the top 100. And you want to go to the best university that you can. So that's another reason to go. Noch ein anderer Grund ist, die Lerngruppen sind winzig. Ich habe 4 Jahre in London gebracht und ich hatte 2 Professoren für meine Lektoren und einen Student. Das war ich. Was ziemlich stressig war, aber ich habe die beste Aufmerksamkeit gehabt und ich habe am besten gelernt. So the courses are really, really small. The professors will engage you, they will talk to you, and they will challenge you. So, the entry requirements. How do I get from just wearing normal clothes to looking like this? Every university can decide which students they want to have. And they do this on a points system. So the more points you get at the Matura or the Baccalaureate, or in the UK, the A-level, that dictates which university you can go to. So for example, if you want to study at Oxford or Cambridge, they normally want the most points because they want the best students. If you want to study at UCL, you also need lots of good points. I'm going to show you the system later of actually how to apply, because it's very, very simple. One thing that all the universities will require is a certificate in English, because we know that you speak perfect German. We need to know that you speak very good English as well. And the British Council here in Vienna organizes the IELTS language test. It's a worldwide recognized test. Es ist praxisorientiert. Das heißt, it comes exactly from real life. Bitte? It's similar to the TOEFL. The American version is the TOEFL. It's not exactly the same, it's slightly different, but the same standards, yeah. A little bit of information. It costs 190 euros, which is very cheap. And included in that is that the British Council, or the IELTS Commission, will send your results directly to the universities, so you don't have to worry about postage or sending it to the wrong person. We'll organize that for you. And the results you'll get after 13 days after sitting the test, okay? They're valid for 2 years. So if you're thinking of studying in the UK in September, go and do the IELTS now. We've got an IELTS expert down on our stand. Go and speak to them, sign up, and just do it, okay? And it's easy, for me. So, wie kann man anmelden? Ganz einfach. Man geht auf ucas.ac.uk. Da ist das Homepage. Sehr schön. Zuerst muss man entscheiden, wo man studieren will. Und es gibt ein paar, wie kann ich sagen, Kriterien. Zuerst, was will ich studieren? Warum will ich in London zum Beispiel studieren? Hat diese Universität einen guten Ruf? Gibt es einen besonderen Professor? Was nicht so wichtig in England ist, ob man im Norden oder im Süden studiert. We used to have a north-south divide, where all the Southerners hated the English and vice versa. That's not true anymore. Okay? So that's where to study. The next point that you should look at UCAS, it's a tricky question. What does it cost? I'm sure you've all heard that studying in the UK costs a lot of money. At the moment, a university can charge you 9,000 euros a year. It's a lot. But there is a way around it. You can get a student loan, either from the student loans company in England or from any bank in Austria. And after you earn a certain amount in your job, you pay a certain percentage back. And that's normally finished after about 6 years. So it's worth it, okay? So it does cost a little bit of money, but there are ways of getting around it. So please don't let the money issue influence your decision, okay? With 50,000 different courses, how do I find exactly the one that I want? This place will tell you. You'll do an online survey, and they'll come up with suggestions. Unless, of course, you know that you want to study architecture at UCL. So this UCAS website will really help you. And the next thing to do is apply. You can choose 5 universities. And you normally choose number 1, the university that I definitely want to go to, down to, I don't really want to go there. The reason for this is that when you sit your Matura, you might not get all the points that you need. Do you remember I mentioned this point system? Yeah? So if you don't get the points, your top choice, unfortunately you can't go there. But your second choice, you might get a position there. And so that's why we have these 5 options. If you get lost on UCAS, there's a little box on the bottom left, and it tells you exactly the 6 steps to applying. What you can't forget is that UCAS will ask for a reference, either from your Schuldirektor, a former employer, or some other professional who knows you. And they need to write quite a long text all about you. And similarly, you need to write a text about yourself, fast wie ein Motivationsschreiben. And UCAS also has tips on how to write the best Motivationsschreiben. Because we want you to stand out. We want you to be the best candidate for this course. Okay? So the better your Motivationsschreiben is, the better your chances. So what's it like studying in the UK? It's excellent. I did it for 4 years, and I'm okay now. Gut überlebt. The universities work you really, really hard. You'll have to do so much work, you won't have any other time for having fun. That's what the professors want you to think. Each university has what we call a students' union. And this is a network specifically for the students. They have cheap shops. They have very cheap pubs, and they serve really good beer. And they have their own clubs and bars, and oh, it's great. I can't remember studying. No, that's not true. They organize different events, normally for charity. So you go around and have fun and raise money for different causes. Maybe like International Women's Day. And of course, the Students' Union organize sports teams, drama groups, choirs. If you have an interest in anything, the Students' Union have a group of people for you. And so you're not alone. So you get to have fun whilst you're studying. So that's very, very shortly how to study in the UK and why you should study in the UK. That's more or less all I've got to say. If anyone has got any questions, feel free to ask.
Who would like to study in the UK? Quite a few. Any questions? Any questions? Yeah, okay, we got a question. Just a moment, I bring in the mic.
how do you know how many points you need to get into a specific university?
Very good question. First of all, you choose the 5 universities that you want to apply to, and then you look on their website, and you write. For international students, you write to the admissions tutor, and you say, okay, I'm doing the Matura. How many points will I get if I get an 1 or an 2? They will say, okay, you need to get 36 points. Okay, and they will say, if you get a 1 in German, you'll get 6 points. Okay, and so the universities themselves will tell you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Another question?
Is there a big difference between a Matura from a berufsbildende Schule, between like berufsbildende Schule and AHS?
No, there's no difference.
Okay, because like they have completely different subjects. So there is that list for all subjects,
Yep.
or just for like the standards like Maths, German, and stuff.
No, in England, in secondary education, we also have about 60 different school subjects, and so they cover everything. Okay?
Thanks.
Is it also possible to study just 1 year in the UK?
On an exchange program,
Yes.
absolutely. And the best place to go for that, I think, is the ÖAD, who I think are being represented here somewhere today, and go and speak to them.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sind Sie so lieb? Geben Sie das Mikro schräg hinter sich zu der Dame. Danke.
Do you need to make the Matura in some special subjects?
Very good question. Yes. For example, if you want to study medicine, the universities will say, okay, we want you to study biology, because you can't realistically study history, geography, and English and go and do a medicine degree. So they will say, yeah, do biology if you want to be a doctor, or some kind of humanities subject if you want to be a lawyer or something. Okay? But again, look at the websites of the universities, contact the admissions tutor, and they will say, okay, if possible, try and study at least this subject for Matura. Okay? If, however, you've already chosen your Matura subjects, and you're not sure if they'll be accepted or not, still write to the admissions tutor. They're people too, apparently. Okay? And they'll advise you on what to do. Okay? Yeah.
I want to study English literature, and I wanted to ask, on the website it said that you have to take the A-levels in English literature or something like I don't know what. And what's the equivalent in Austria?
That would be the Matura.
In English?
In English, yeah.
Okay, just English.
Just English,
Okay.
yeah.
Ja, ich kann Ihnen das Mikro nicht runtergeben, weil ich kriege die Interferenz rein. Wenn Sie so lieb sind, nur warten einen Moment. Danke.
Is it true that some universities don't take the Cambridge ESOL examinations, like first certificate in advance?
It might well be true that some universities don't accept the Cambridge, for example, the CAE. All universities do take the IELTS, though. Okay?
Okay.
Any more questions? Yeah.
Do you think it's hard to get into Scottish universities because they're free, kind of free for us? Or
No. There's no difference in quality or anything between Scotland and England.
no, but it's like we don't have to pay, or because we are
Correct.
Austrian,
Yep.
and wouldn't the Scottish universities accept like more English people because they have to pay and?
Nope.
So.
There are procedures in place to make sure that throughout Europe, a certain percentage of every nationality goes to that university. So you have just as much chance of studying in St Andrews as actually a Scottish person.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much do the dormitories cost?
That's a very good question. Each town obviously has a different price. For example, London is going to be a lot more expensive just because it's a metropolis. There are cheap ways of living and expensive ways. Generally, you should allow 800 euros a month for accommodation, food, and living necessities. Okay.
Any more questions? May I ask you a question?
Sure.
What subject did you study with one student and two professors?
My major was German, and the two professors was Deutsche Philologie. Mm-hmm. Not very popular in England, but great for Austria.
So if you choose something that's more popular, you will not have this ratio, student-professor ratio?
No. The courses are so designed that there will always be a small number of students.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Any more questions in the meantime? Here we have some exams that replace Matura.
Mm-hmm.
Is this also valid for England, for UK?
Generally speaking, yes. I can't obviously give a yes or no for every type of certificate. Seriously, the best way to find out if you're eligible with the certificates that you've got is contact the admissions tutor for each university. And they will either give you the green light and say, yes, you have a very good chance of studying here, or they'll give you an amber light, say, okay, try with these, but if you can, try and get this certificate as well. Or they'll give you the red light and say, sorry, you're not quite right for our course. Okay?
But in general, a Studieneingangsprüfung would be recognized.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Any more questions?
Mm-hmm.
Could you take the mic so we have you also on the live stream? Thank you very much.
Is it the same way you apply for master programs as you do for bachelor ones?
No. The way that you apply that is UCAS doesn't exist for postgraduate courses. There you really do have to apply to the head of postgraduate studies for each university. Okay.
Do I see any hands up? What about admission exams? Admission procedures?
You mean similar to the Austrian admission procedure for medicine?
For example, exactly.
They don't exist in the UK.
Okay.
UCAS has designed their scoring system so that they can say, okay, you're definitely going to be a good candidate to study medicine, for example. So there's no admission testing.
And are there some areas where it's easier to get in because, as you said, German philology, there might not be so many applicants?
I'm not entirely sure. I think most universities try to get as many students as possible, whilst keeping this sort of intimacy within each course.
So it's not very limiting except for the very, very great universities.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see a hand up.
I I wanted to ask if, with the number of points that are required from each university, if you have those points, you get in like without doing anything else, or do you need another test or entry? I don't know what.
If you have achieved those points, and if you have got the mark on the IELTS, then there's a very, very good chance that you will get the place that you want. UCAS, the universities will look at your application from UCAS. They will say, okay, this person we definitely want, and we don't care about what they do.
So you don't have to have an interview where they're saying yes or no?
Not necessarily. The university will contact UCAS and say, okay, we want this person, we're going to give them what we call, and you'll see on the process, it's called an unconditional offer. That means you don't have to do anything else apart from pack your bags and buy a new laptop.
Okay.
Conversely, the universities might contact UCAS and say, okay, we'll accept this person only if they achieve these grades. And then you will get a conditional offer. So that means if you fulfill these criteria, you can come.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Any more questions? Yeah, the lady here in front. Please. Thank you.
What's the difference between post and undergraduate?
A postgraduate is any bachelor's studies. So Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Engineering. Any postgraduate is master's up to doctoral. Okay?
Da hinten die Dame.
If I would like to start to study in the UK in September, is it already too late, or can I still apply now?
Generally it would be too late, but you can try to apply on UCAS for what they call clearing. And this is where the universities don't have enough people for their particular course. And so they'll accept more people in. Okay? So you could try clearing, for example, and that might work.
Yeah, hand up here.
Is it necessary to apply 1 year earlier?
The sooner you apply, the better. Okay? Just because the course numbers are so small, they tend to get filled very quickly. Okay? So even if you're the best student ever, they might have given the place away to someone else, not as good as you. So if you want to apply, if you want to start studying in September 2014, start applying now. Okay?
Yeah, just give it. Danke.
When you apply for university, you don't necessarily already have your matura or baccalaureate or anything, so you might only have your school grades. Do they look at that if you apply before you have passed any
Absolutely.
exam?
Yeah. Yeah. What UCAS will do is they will say, give us your predicted grades. Okay? And so you'll run around and ask your teachers, what am I going to get in English or in maths? And your teacher will tell you, and you write that down on your application form. And then the universities will look at that, and then you'll probably be one of the people who gets an unconditional offer. Okay? Sorry, a conditional offer. Okay.
Fine. Thank you.
Any more questions? What about scholarships? Life is not so cheap. And European Union citizens, are there possibilities?
Absolutely. The universities themselves offer hundreds of scholarships and bursaries. And the best way to find out the information, I'm sorry that I'm repeating myself, is look on the website and have a look for the list of scholarships. There are also websites in Austria that offer international scholarships. I can't say if one or the other is better. Shop around, is all I can say.
Austrian websites, for example, what would that be? Do you have any idea? Maybe you remember one or the other.
I think one of them is called stipendium.at and scholarships.at.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
Any more questions? Many people are here. Quite a few are interested to go to Great Britain.
I know, I'm really happy.
If you were in our shoes and you would just want to study in England and you would be sort of flexible and you know the situation very well, so what would you advise or what would you do?
What would I do if I were in your shoes?
Yeah.
Apply to the best universities, because Austrian education is superb, so you have a really good chance of getting it.
Wow, thank you. Pisa notwithstanding.
I've got to say that I'm an English teacher in my free time. Try to apply to the best universities. Everyone's heard of Oxford and Cambridge, so if you want to, try to apply there. You don't have to just apply there, though. As I said earlier, the UK has 12 of the top 100 universities. So look at Manchester. It's a great city. Look at Birmingham as well. Look at the University of Sussex. And apply. And then when you get there, just throw yourself into the studies. It's such a life-changing experience being a member of a British university. Not just because of the excellence of the studies and the research that you do there. You saw the pictures of the parties. They were awesome, okay? So throw yourself in there.
Any more questions? You see people coming back from the UK with the certificates in their pockets. Yesterday we had here a presentation about recognition of foreign studies in Austria. Some subjects are more difficult than others, like medicine. What is your experience in this respect? People coming back, getting recognition here?
If you asked me that question 5 years ago, I would say very, very difficult. But thanks to the European Union, it's becoming so much more easy to get your accreditation from the UK in Austria. All you have to normally do is send a letter to the university and they'll say, wow, you're a Bachelor of Arts in England. You're a Bachelor of Arts in Austria too. So there's very little difficulty these days.
Very good. Any more questions? So I think our time has lapsed. Thank you for your good questions and good luck and lots of